So people, it's time for another behind the scenes view from the Arcade Radio Network. And here am I, DJ Demon, to show you how it's done. Today we're talking about adding songs into the station, and this is a technical view, so if you're not into the technology information field or whatever, you can give this clip a skip or a pass or something. Anyway, we have a number of modules here, that's Amiga modules, that we want to enter the station. You can see this list of happy little tunes that just want to be part of your listening experience, okay? Now understand this, that a mod file is basically a score if you want to. That's a music paper, a music sheet with notes on it, so to speak, binary form, and some samples into one file. The samples are generally instruments, and the score tells which instrument and which pitch, which note it should play. That's very simple. Obviously, this is something that will not play in a media player unless the media player has support for the mod file. In that sense, it's not like an MP3 file or a WAV file or something. This is a bit more complex. And I have used VLC to decode the modules into WAV files and MP3s previously. But I was told that that's not a good idea because VLC has support for the mods, but it's not very reliable and can sometimes make the songs sound bad. So what we're going to show right here, right now, is how to do it. Now I have a Linux machine here, and the directory here in Windows, of course, is shared with this virtual Linux machine that you have in the background. Okay, so as you can see, what goes on here is also represented on the virtual machine over here. So this is what happens here. It doesn't stay in Las Vegas. It's actually changes here as well. So I put those in here. Good. Now, the script running on the Linux machine uses something called XMP, which is a far superior decoder for Amiga mods and different stuff. So, what we're doing now is that in the station we call everything batches. And a batch is something like this. As you can see, it says TERN APR 2021-01. And this is simply month, year, station name, and a incrementing number. So number 4 here is simply the 4th batch for April, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to create the 2nd batch for December. We're going to regenerate one that was lost. And if you don't type anything in here, the script will generate the next batch number depending on what date it is when you are running the script. So that's how it's working. I'm gonna clear that. You weren't supposed to see that. Anyway, that's actually the last run. If you can give parameters, you actually can set it manually. It will create a new catalog in here. And the first thing it will do is that it will run XMP and decode the song into a temporary WAV file. And a WAV file is a full quality, audio file, so to speak. And after that, it will normalize this temporary WAV file, which is the song it's converting at the time. And the normalization is simply taking the highest point in the WAV file, this audio file, and pushing it to the very top that the system can handle. Very simplified. That means that everything else will follow along a little bit on the way. What this means simply is if you have a song that has been recorded with a very low amplitude, a very low volume, it can obviously be compensated. You want everything to have about the same volume level. I wonder what I ate. Anyway, when that has been done, we are converting it to an MP3 file, which is what we need to do. And we're using FFmpeg. We're creating a 320k stereo file, which is of constant bitrate. Then we delete all the temporary files. After that, we can cut out the names of the tune plus some of the instrument lists, because that will go into the MP3 file. I'm gonna show you this when it starts running. This makes it much easier to track stuff. Okay, so then we take a program called ID3 V2 and simply push the things we ripped out of it into the comment fields and the artist fields on that MP3. This means that when it gets read into the broadcast automation, it will be correctly named. And then we're done. So let's do this, and I'm gonna show you what it leads to. It's called genmod. Alright, I had to dig around a little bit here to find the correct format for it. Here we go. I'm gonna change this into that's there, and we're gonna have batch 2. Okay, what this simply states is that create this batch because we're repopulating an old lost batch here, so we don't get an April batch here. This is what it does if you don't specify anything. So we're doing it. Okay, this is the batch number it will generate. This is the suggested name of it. We're gonna have to update it manually, I think. And there we go, there it is. The selected here is the final modules. That's where it will be when it's totally done. And here is where I copy the original ones so I can save them. In the temp file are two things. The first one is whatever I ripped out of the module itself. That's the name of the module. It's called nam theme. That's a file name, and the instrument list sometimes just shows you what instruments there are. But they can sometimes also give you the name of the artist. So that's a thing. Okay, good. This information will be cut, as I said, and put into the MP3 file. So if we kind of look here and no. If we kind of go in here, we can see. There you see. The title is Nader, and artist means Amiga. That's all artists will be called Amiga, because we need to figure out which artist this was originally. So yeah, that's a later job. But it also saves the instrument list here, which can give me good information. And you can also see here that it says by FBY of musicians. We know the artist here. Makes it all easier. So good, we have this set up, and now we're gonna wait. Sometimes it cannot figure out the name of the module. That is because, some of the modules don't have names, or maybe the dissection of the text failed for some reason. So as you can see, you have one there that doesn't have the proper name, and some part of this information is also in Swedish. That's because I try to create every script I do mostly in English. This is so that I can put it out on GitHub or something. Anyway, I will probably fix this because this is totally going up on GitHub once I have it properly documented, okay? So yeah, that's the whole thing. We are now done, and as you can see, all the modules are there. If we take a fast gander here on the Windows side, you see all the modules here are gone because they have been moved into the batch. So we go here into the December one, that's the one we're having. Here are the original mod files. They have not been changed, just moved there for reference. Then we go to selected. Here is the processed file, normalized, turned into high quality MP3 and properly documented in the comment fields and stuff. We can take a look at this nature here just again. We've seen it before, but here it's in Windows. Yeah, so this is kind of what it looks like. Okay, good. Now I have, as a good TV chef, prepared this one. Here is the broadcast automation program, and here is where you install new songs. I have created a batch with the same name, or a track group as it's called. And this track group is named this way, so you can easily see, there's a correlation between them, basically. So we're pushing this, and we're clicking here, and now we'll see. Yeah, well, I don't know why we got there, but obviously we did. So we're going here, And here is the catalog. Good. We're selecting all of them. We're pushing open. We are now also checking the analyze tracks for cue in and out points. This is so it figures out when to mix and when to kind of start playing them. We have to manually check those because for many reasons they may not be correct. So we're going here, we're selecting the repository, the empty one, and we're pushing the upload button. Boom. Okay, then I'm reloading this as it sometimes doesn't detect the modules, the new tracks correctly. There we go. And now you see they work. And what we need to do now is go through each of them. And I will only show one. I will just demonstrate this. So if we open this one, you will notice that it has a title called Nuclear Nebula. We're going to remove every kind of extra stuff, because it's easier to search and easier to work with them if they all look the same. Then we have an artist that's unknown, and Amiga means it's an Amiga artist, obviously, but I haven't had the time to see who it is. If I can't find out the composer, which sometimes happens, then I change that to Amiga artist. This is so I don't think I have failed to check this out later. Okay, so we're looking at the common text, which contains the instrument text here. And generally the instrument text, as you already know, has the instruments, trumpet, drums, voice or something. But many people actually use them to type little cute messages in here, and often signing off with their name. And it seems like this guy, I think it's a guy, could be a woman of course, signed, I'm gonna assume it's a him, his instrumentalist with Akbar. Okay, so I don't know if he's an admiral or something, maybe religious thing. So we're gonna put Akbar in there. As you see, the system already recognizes him, so we have something else with him in there. So now we have the artist, we have the title. Now we have to check the cue points. Generally you can hear what's happening here, which I can. I don't know if it gets into the mix really, so if you can't hear it, it's not a problem. And this start seems okay, we're leaving it. The cue points are set here to 0, it immediately starts. Then we have the end here. Okay, it's kinda... Okay, listening here. Yeah, that's okay. That's a proper ending. Sometimes you can just abruptly stop because it was meant to be a loop point. At this time you have to kind of set another cue point. And this kind of doesn't make it mix it perfectly, but when it abruptly ends, that sounds kind of weird, okay? So we're saving this one. Bam, done. And as you can see, this is updated. So now we have the fun little thing here, go through all of them. But I will do no such thing. This is enough for this demonstration. So this should kind of tell you how much work there really is. And going through this is not always easy. Sometimes you can find who made the song, but sometimes it looks like this. This is a proper instrument list, but there is no name of the person who wrote it. And there are two sources I used to figure this one out. The first one is Project Janeway, and the other one is Amiga Modules Archive. And then I try to figure out. And as I said, if I can't figure it out, I write Amiga Artist. Otherwise, I change this into the proper artist. And the last thing I will do, but you won't have to look into this, is simply copy the file names, the tune names, and put it on Discord under the channel that is called New Songs. So that's it, and that's how that works. I am going to leave you with this. Thanks for viewing.